Hello, this is Riley Porter with Seattle Sumo. You are listening to a commentary track for the 1964 Hatsu Basho. The video coverage for this tournament can be found on the Japan Sumo Association's YouTube channel and accessed with a $9 membership. There will be a link included for the coverage video in the description for this video. In order to sync up the play-by-play commentary with the video coverage, I'll count down from 3, 2, 1. As I hit the N in 1, they'll click play. I'll do the same, and we'll be in sync. Well, without further ado, we'll get going here. Hatsu 1964, Day 2. Countdown begins. 3, 2, 1. Futabayama, Taiho, Chianofuji, Archive. I always open it up with the three most famous yokozuna of the 20th century. And here we've got the Makunochi Dohyo Iri on the east side. Everybody with a nice keisho mawashi. Modern day viewers, that is viewers of the 21st century, will note that unlike in today's sumo, they don't file off in the same order they donned in a neat kind of around the dohyo train. They just sort of all file off in a collapsed formation. Well, without further ado, it's our first match. Here is Wakanaruto against Wakamiyama. There's a 2-1 head-to-head in Wakamiyama's favor. Certainly the much heavier of the two. A little younger, a little less experienced than Wakanaruto. Wakanaruto goes in head first. He's got that outside left. Wakamiyama has secured his inside right. A little leaning here in the middle. Now the outside left for both, inside right. Yotsuzumo. Wakamiyama barrels in, pumping his gut into Wakanaruto and finishes him Yoritaoshi. That's the second consecutive victory for Wakamiyama, the youngster from Tatsunami. In fact, he is the 5th consecutive Maegashira to debut for Tatsunami from his native Toyama Prefecture. I believe Toyama's the home prefecture of Wakamiyama here. So Tatsunami in that prefecture. Long history. Tochio Yama has Aranami today. 3-1 head-to-head in Tochio Yama's favor. He's a little more experienced than Aranami. Digs his head into the chest and finishes Aranami Yorikiri. Aranami couldn't quite get into position there. Tochio Yama comes in very low at the Tachiai, gets his first win. Aranami, his first loss. Still early days here. Tochio Yama, unlike Aranami, has actually secured a Kachikoshi here in the top division. Kani no Hana against Kyokuni. It's a 1-0 head-to-head in Kyokuni's favor. And they bounce off each other. Kyokuni pushing at the chest, thrusting away. A little topsy-turvy here. Kani no Hana, he gets that outside left. Kyokuni's got the inside right. They're coming to grips here in the middle. Now it's Migi Yotsu for both of them. Yotsuzumo. And catching their breath. Eyeing the other's footing. Waiting for that change in breathing to signal the cue for an attack. And when that comes, only they will know. Kyokuni digs in. Little Uchigake attempt, but Kani no Hana's keeping an eye on him. Leaning, waiting, watching, minding each other. Is Kyokuni going to want to try an Uchigake again? He's keeping that forward foot in optimal position for it. Wouldn't be horribly surprised. Dikishi tend to try the same maneuver multiple times in the same bout. No need to abandon your tactic just because it fails the first time. Well, it's quite the standoff. Well, digs in again, does Kyokuni, but no going. A little waiting, jostling. They'll be waiting here for a long time, but by the time the match ends, it'll still be hard to follow what happened, I'm sure. Little cut there, but no change in the action. Kyokuni still leaning forward onto Kane no Hana here. Well, waiting patiently are these two Dikishi. They're both belt fighters by trade, so they'll want to finish it from here. Neither one's going to want to break away or break his grip. Twisting away and pulling his Kyokuni. Now he's driving in, dropping his hips, and finishing Kane no Hana with a Yori Taoshi. So Kyokuni extends his winning streak over Kane no Hana to 2. Gets his second consecutive win. Kane no Hana his second consecutive loss. So things are looking good for the young man fighting for Isegahama stable. Is Kyokuni. The Kyo, of course, a reference to the old Shisho for Isegahama, Kiyosegawa. Now Uragawa is up against Dewa Nishiki. It's a 5-1 head-to-head in Dewa Nishiki's favor. Uragawa jumps in, digs in the head. Dewa Nishiki pedals to the side to save himself, but can't generate any forward momentum. Uragawa finishes the Dewanumi veteran. So a pretty sharp attack from Uragawa, didn't waste any time. Dewa Nishiki has a long history of good defense and working his way off of a bad tachi-ai, but this time out he doesn't seem to have much power either way. Still, he only got one win last basho, so only a couple would be required to improve on his results. Fusanishiki against Ogiyama. It's a 2-4 head-to-head in Fusanishiki's favor. It comes in pushing to Fusanishiki, keeps the momentum going. Ogiyama tries to skirt away, but Fusanishiki stays on him. Now Ogiyama gets that belt and finishes Fusanishiki Yorikiri. So, Ogiyama, the lighter of the two, less experienced. Oh, what's this? It looks like a mono-e. And they are checking a corner of the dohyo here for foot marking. And I think the foot marking they're looking for would be one to indicate that Ogiyama slid out ahead of Fusanishiki. Isa Miyashi, I believe. An inadvertent step out. And I guess that's what happened. Fusanishiki gets the win, his second consecutive one. So, spared by bad footwork on Ogiyama's part. And Isa Miyashi, an inadvertent step out, has one of the hiki, non-technique losses. Tsurugamine is against Wakahaguro. They've had 30 meetings, and Wakahaguro has had the better of 21 of them. So odds favor him in this head-to-head. Tsurugamine crosses his Shikiri-sen quickly. Wakahaguro's working that throat, trying to push on Tsurugamine, but he's not really generating a lot of power here. But he's making the movement going. Now Tsurugamine gets on that outside left. Now he's pumping in. Puts on the Sotogake, and an Uchari effort, a twist on the edge from Wakahaguro. Looked clean enough to me. I don't think there will be a mono-e this time. So Wakahaguro, very uncertain footing there, and we do have a mono-e. Well, not that shocking this time around. I mean, in any Uchari attempt could be called into question. Happens so quickly, it's hard to tell who touches down first sometimes. Be nice to get a slow-mo replay, but work with what you got. The Shimpan are here for a reason. So, Gunbai Dori or Sachichigai? And it's a Tori Naoshi. Well, how about that? Going to have a rematch? Get a more certain outcome? Based on what I just saw, I might put my money on Tsurugamine, but you never know. Wakahaguro could be a little more aggressive this time out. Gets to the chest, pushing up on Tsurugamine, keeping a good angle as Wakahaguro, but doesn't finish the job. Tsurugamine gets to the belt. Wakahaguro surges back forward, and Tsurugamine digs inside for his Morozashi. He likes that grip, and he can do wonders from there. Now he's pushing, and now he's raising up Wakahaguro, and another Uchari from Wakahaguro, and another nod from the referee in his direction, and another Monoi, I believe. No? I suppose not. That Shinpan was merely adjusting himself after being landed on by the Dikishi. Well, Wakahaguro finishes the match in pretty much the same fashion as the first time around, but gets the victory. So the former Ozeki not really looking his absolute best, but all things considered, I think he composed himself not too badly there. Kitano Fuji, one of our brand new top division Dikishi, against Wakanami. Kitano Fuji gets to shoving at the throat and the chest and finishes Wakanami Tsukidashi thrust out. So Kitano Fuji, I think it was a Tsukidashi, sometimes I can't tell between a push and a thrust, but it looked to me like a stiff arm. In any event, Kitano Fuji bests the division's lightest man in Wakanami, extends his winning record, or his winning streak, I should say, to I believe 20 bouts. So looking great. Kairi Yuyama is against Amatsukaze. It's a 3-0 head-to-head in Kairi Yuyama's favor. Kairi Yuyama slashes in with that left. He's got the belt. He's pushing up on the armpit, Hazuoshi, keeping his own belt safe. But he loses his balance. Amatsukaze barrels into the chest. Kairi Yuyama's legs fold underneath him. Yoritaoshi, I believe. Amatsukaze's victory. So he gets his first win over Kairi Yuyama in 4 meetings, and his first win of this basho. Good for Amatsukaze. Of course, by the ring name, you could probably judge that he comes from Tokitsukaze, the biggest stable in this division. Tsunen Ishiki is against Toyokuni. Toyokuni getting an easier match today. He had the Yokozuna Taiho yesterday. Comes in a little high as Toyokuni. Tsunen Ishiki's getting to work, working to that inside. He's got the left, got that right uwate. He's twisting around. Locked up here in the middle now. Toyokuni's working his way to the belt. He's got that inside left. Trying to get that outside. Tsunen Ishiki twists. Guarding his belt. Not for long. Toyokuni's got that outside right. He is the heavier of the two. I'd wager a little stronger in this position. Tsunen Ishiki tries for that Shitate. No good. Yoritaoshi victory for Toyokuni. So he rose to the occasion. He got an easier opponent on his very tough schedule and beat him rightly. Toyokuni, of course, is the only Makushita Tsukedashi entrant in the top division currently, meaning, of course, he had some success at the amateur level and so was fast-tracked into the middle of the 3rd division. Now, Sawa Hikari is against Hirokawa. And their head-to-head is 4-0 in Hirokawa's favor. Hirokawa jumps in, gets to pushing up on the face. Sawa Hikari moves to the side, and Hirokawa resumes his attack, this time with some gaburi. Gut thrusting action, finishes him Yoritaoshi. Hirokawa gets his 2nd consecutive win, and his 5th overall, 5th straight over Sawa Hikari. So he's really got the younger man's number. Hirokawa fighting for Miyagino stable, a student of the former Yoshibayama, a Yokozuna in his own time. Oopsie, little slip there on the dohyo, I think. Speaking of Yoshibayama, there he is in the front here. Miyagino Oyakata as a Shinpan. And this rather tall gentleman, the former Ochiyama, a veteran former Ozeki for Tokitsukaze stable. Now a coach for the sumo powerhouse. Koto Zakura, Shin Komosubi against Aono Sato from Tokitsukaze. A bit of a softer Tachi-ai, but Koto Zakura digs his head in. He's got that outside left. Arono Sato, he's used to this position. He's got that inside right. Moving around to the side, circling. Gets that outside. Koto Zakura. Against the taller man, he's not quite getting the grip he wants. And Koto Zakura gets the nod from the Gyoji there. Looked to me like they both went out at about the same time, but since it is an edge reversal, I would call that Uchari. And now a... Oh, I thought it might have been an Mono-ii because Koto Zakura was dismounting, but he was just mistaken on the outcome of the match. So he is the winner. That's the Shin Komosubi's first win of the Basho. Good for him. I believe he's the first homegrown Sekitori from the Sarukatake stable to reach the Komosubi rank. He's also the first Komosubi from Tori Prefecture since the former Ozeki Araiwa got the rank back in the Edo period. Maedagawa against Daigo, both with a win so far. Oh, Maedagawa slips to the side here off the Tachiai, but Daigo keeps his bearings and slaps down Maedagawa. Hataki Komi. Maedagawa really let himself get splayed there. I think he might have lost his footing. And all the tussle and spin. Sekiwake Daigo keeps a clean run going, gets his second consecutive win, and evens his head-to-head with Maedagawa. Oh, not evens it rather, but brings it a little closer. Now it's 3-4 in Maedagawa's favor. Haguro Hana against Ogi no Hana. Haguro Hana, a reference to Haguro Yama. Ogi no Hana, a reference to his hometown of Ogi in Saga. Ogi no Hana comes in low, hits well off the mark, and finishes Wakahaguro Oshidashi. That's a good Tachiai. Sharp movement, good push, good Dayashi follow through from Ogi no Hana. The man from Ogi gets his first win of the Basho and extends his head-to-head, or rather evens his head-to-head, with Haguro Hana to 7-7 each. Now, Haguro Yama is against Tochi Naomi. Tochi Naomi hoping for Yokozuna promotion. He's already started with a loss. Comes in low, digs in with an inside right. He's got a Morozashi already. Tips over and pushes out Haguro Yama Yorikiri. So Tochi Naomi back in form, on track, fresh start here on day 2. Looked rather convincing there against Haguro Yama. Tochi Naomi, another mistake, another loss. I think before the 10th day is pretty much curtains for his Yokozuna bid, in my opinion, so we'll see what he can do. Wakachichibu is against Tochi Hikari. They have a nearly even head-to-head. It's 10-9 with the edge in Tochi Hikari's favor. He's the oldest of the Ozeki at 30. Hits with the head. Gets under the armpit. Hazuoshi, Tochi Hikari. He's pushing. He's moving Wakachichibu. Wakachichibu's on the edge. He's defending himself. He's a little overextended, I think. And he is sidestepped and sent careening forward. Wakachichibu splats to a second loss. And Tochi Hikari gets his second win. So the senior Ozeki in terms of age, not necessarily in terms of achievement, Tochi Hikari gets his second win. So both the Kasugano Ozeki are looking to be in good form, for today at least. Kasugano stable on the whole, I think, was not looking too bad. Tochi Oyama maybe got a win. I actually can't remember just now. That doesn't matter. Kitabayama against Kainoyama. Ozeki against Komosubi. Neither has a win yet. Now, Kainoyama, he's inside already. He's got that inside right. Kitabayama usually likes to be the one coming underneath. Sorogake from Kainoyama. Twisting away. Holding on to Kitabayama. More turning and twisting. Another outside leg trip attempt, but Kitabayama's keeping his footing. Now they're on the edge. Kitabayama, he's got Kainoyama's back to the edge. Kainoyama twists away. Yotsuzumo, they're both Amigi Yotsu. They keep twisting. They're trying to break the grip. Attempt at a new Watenage, but doesn't go. Now Kitabayama is getting to where he wants to be, digging the head into the chest, lowering his angle. That'll be the way he finishes this match if he can just pull his head down. Locked up here now. Crunching in is Kitabayama. He's going for the lift and finishes Kainoyama with an Uwate Nage. Outside arm, overarm throw. The first win for Kitabayama. And his 7th win over Kainoyama in a total of 9 meetings. So Kitabayama, looking solid. Fujinishiki against Sadanoyama. 8-4 head-to-head in Sadanoyama's favor. Sadanoyama looking to redeem himself after last Basho. Fujinishiki's pushing at the chest. He's off a good tachiai. He gets back to action. Sadanoyama tries to sidestep him, but Fujinishiki keeps up the attack. Now Sadanoyama, he's gotten to pushing. He's digging in. He's pushing back. He finishes Fujinishiki. Oshidashi. Sadanoyama. He can do both. He can belt fight and he can do thrusting and pushing. Fujinishiki is really more the pushing type. So banking on his Oshizumo to get him through this bout. But Sadanoyama made the adjustment, returned fire, got his 2nd consecutive win. So looking good, composing himself well. The senior man for Dewano Umi. Yutakayama against Tama Arashi. It's a 3-0 head-to-head in Yutakayama's favor. An easy lineup for him. Pushes up on the chest. Tama Arashi digs in with that right. Yutakayama's got that outside left. Digs the belly in and finishes Tama Arashi Yorikiri. So, predictably easy bout for Yutakayama there. Gets his 2nd win. So the Ozeki are all looking pretty convincing today, which is good to see, especially in the first week. Yutakayama is the most senior man for the strongest stable in sumo right now in Tokitsukaze, so, playing on his shoulders. Myobudani is against Taiho. It's a 6-1 head-to-head in Taiho's favor, not very surprising. Taiho was in good form yesterday against Toyokuni. Let's see what Myobudani's got. Taiho's already slipped that inside right and he's got that outside left and it's over. He finishes Myobudani with a Yorikiri. Taiho overwhelms his lighter, though taller, opponent. Gets that 2nd win. So he looks pretty well set to make a running for this Yusho. Looked very commanding there. He is, of course, the sole Nishono Seki Dikishi in the top division, so not getting any handouts, this Taiho fella. Kashiwado against Iwakaze. It's a 3-13 head-to-head in Kashiwado's favor. So expected to win this. And he hits at the chest. Iwakaze's low as usual, but Kashiwado's bearing down on him. Hooking the arm, digging that inside right. Iwakaze, he's got that shallow outside left. Really more like a Maimitsu at this point. He's pushing back, trying to protect his hips, protect his belt. Pressing into the ribs of Kashiwado there. Kashiwado's leaning on him. Reaching for the belt. Inching forward. Inching forward. Iwakaze. He dives in. Now he's pulling back. Now he dives in again, but a little overcommit. Kashiwado pulls him in. Look like a Hikiotoshi? No, not a Hikiotoshi. That'd be a hand pull down. I suppose you could just call that a Tsukiotoshi, a thrust down. In any event, Kashiwado. A little bit of a struggle there. Iwakaze is not the easiest customer to satisfy, but with his low charge and Kashiwado's propensity for moving in quickly. In any event, the Sanyaku are looking solid. Thank you for joining me.